All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Quick Sticks. We are back this week with a special guest. Back again is the head lacrosse coach of Apex High School, Mr. Bryce Sneed. How are we doing, Bryce?
Good. Thank you guys for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I think this is number 3 that you've been a special guest.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal this one from Bob Does Sports. Bryce, 11 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Give me your top 3 steakhouse side dishes. Go.
Wow.
Ooh. 11 seconds on the clock. Baked potato. Probably asparagus. And I'm going to double down on the carbs, going loaded mashed potatoes.
Loaded mashed potatoes.
Wow.
Love the answer.
Strong
Absolutely.
choices.
Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was going mac and cheese. He went.
I
So I thought about it. I thought
So
of that or
yeah.
broccoli, one of the two. I do like
Oh,
greens,
that's
but
you already
yeah.
got
Wow.
asparagus.
Yeah.
I love
Bryce,
double
solid
down
answers.
on the carbs.
Absolutely solid. And we didn't go over that. So that's great. That was off the cuff.
That was great. For off the top, that was good.
I thought about the rolls too. You know, the Texas Roadhouse has the rolls.
Dude, stop.
I feel like
no.
those are already implied because those are usually
Yeah,
free.
that's your
Those are free.
appetizer, right?
That's fair.
That's right.
fair.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, welcome
Oh my
back,
God.
Bryce. We got a chock full episode here. So jumping right in, we did want to talk about the new addition to the PLL, which is their fantasy league. It's called Royale. We hate the name, but it's basically weekly fantasy where you can draft a team, challenge your friends, other PLL fans. I personally love the idea, but curious what you guys think. Does the PLL have enough traction for this to get going, do you think? And James and Sam, I know you guys were talking about the scoring. Just overall, what are your thoughts on it? James, let's start with you.
All right. So I think it's great. I think it's a lot more user friendly than I expected it to be because I think their website needs a lot of work, to say the least. But I think it's super important because it's going to allow us to have more statistics. And as this league turns into what the league we think it is going to be, analytics and statistic is the future. So I feel like fantasy is a step to that. And I feel like it will also mean that us as fans, we will focus now on smaller statistics that some people, quote unquote, say don't matter. Like I talked about in the last episode, I don't think hockey assists are put in yet, but if we could imply them on the fantasy app, I think people will see how important a hockey assist can be. So I think for the future of the league, it's great. I think we're going to need a lot of work, but I'm excited. I think it's good. It's really good.
Love that. Bryce, what you got?
Yeah, I don't love the name, but I think it's a great idea. I know we were talking about it a little bit before. I don't love the tiered system. I think that's a little bit biased considering who makes the tiers, and like once you get down to the who's in tier 1 and then tier 2, there's very little separation, I think, between those two guys.
That's true.
You know, again, I think we were talking about a little bit, like I like the DraftKings thing. If you're going to do daily fantasy, which is essentially what this is going to be, like weekly sort of fantasy, I think kind of doing more of like an allowance, and then you buy players based off of how well they're doing. But I don't know, I think it's a cool idea. I really do. I'll be curious to see. I mean, obviously, I think it's more for the invested fan than it is for the new fan, just because you have to understand A, the point system and how the point system works, but B, understanding, you know, the players. But I think for the invested fans, I think it is a way to become more invested because, like James said, you can argue the nitty gritty. You can argue stats. Like this is something that we can finally compare players to and from. And so I think it's a really cool launching point for the PLL moving forward.
So that was my point too. Sorry, James, but
You're good.
that was my point. Was I love this because the easiest way to get people into a sport right now in this day and age is gambling. It is.
True.
Like
100%.
I have friends, cousins, you know, hitting my cell phone up asking about how do I gamble on like baseball or, you know, soccer, like sports they've never even thought about watching, but sports gambling is blowing up. So like if, like Bryce, like you were saying, if they can partner with DraftKings or FanDuel and do a daily fantasy lineup or a weekly one, that's the easiest way to get people to start understanding the stats of the game, what to look for, what players to go after, and then do an auction style where like you get 50,000 points. So, you know, if you want Trevor Baptiste, you can have him, but it's going to cost you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I guess the
I
part that I was
love it.
wondering about what Bryce said is the tiered system going to change throughout the season, right? Because
Yeah,
Chase
that's why
Frazier on the
I feel like
Chaos
the
will come in
players
as
are
a
going
tier
to kind
3.
of vary, up and down
Yeah,
the tiers. But
but it's like, do halfway through the season, do they say like, oh, this person should move down and this person should move up? Because
It
Jared
should
Newman,
week to week, right?
2019 to
Yeah,
tier
it'll
1
be
guy, but right now he's probably a tier 2, tier 3 defenseman.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So, I'm just curious what they're going to do. I don't know. It's not an answer, but Sam, what's your take?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea. I mean, that they came up with this and that Sixes tournament pretty like in 2 weeks. So they're definitely flowing with the ideas, and I think both of them are good. I'm echoing what Bryce said. This is for the dedicated fan, the fan who's following the entry draft, the NCAA tournament, right, and seeing how people are performing. So yeah, that's what I love about it. It's just giving us one extra level to have fun this summer, because Lax is taking over summer now. Thank God baseball's out.
Heyo.
It's America's
Talk about it.
pastime. It's fun.
Talk about it.
I think this is just going to be an extra layer that guys like us can have to just enjoy the season more. And those guys who enjoy stats and enjoy analytics, like you were saying, James, they're going to find this interesting. And then it's going to pull more guys in. And then now we have that winter tournament. It's going to keep guys going. So
It's true. Never stops.
I mean,
It's great.
I absolutely agree with that. I don't know, though. I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. I think it's absolutely going to start off with the very invested fans, but I love this as a great way to get people into lacrosse who have never even thought about it before.
Yeah, because they'll say like, "Hey, like I chose Grant Amon as my guy. When does he play? Saturday? Like, let me see who this Grant Amon guy. Why is everybody taking him? So
and I mean,
see
like
both
right
sides.
now, you're not actually gambling, so you're gonna have kids going to school or lacrosse practice, and they're gonna hear their buddies be like, "Oh, dude, I beat the hell out of this guy in fantasy this week," and then it's gonna be like, "Dude, it's just gonna."
And
grow,
let me see your lineup, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, fact of the matter is, if we were all in middle school, especially high school right now, we'd be all over this. I mean, we'd be,
for sure,
we'd be every week. So I mean, everything has to start somewhere. So it's exciting at the very least.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So let's talk post-draft player additions. There's been quite a few major ones. Whipsnakes, I have to say, have made some fantastic post-draft moves. Just to highlight a couple, they had a Gibson Smith. Shocking that he wasn't drafted, but they had a Brendan Krebs, fantastic goalie, and Chaos added Mike Adler and Kevin Crowley and a few others. I saw the Archers added Marco Rourke, which is a good pickup. But do any of these stand out to you guys? I'll kind of leave it open, whoever wants to jump in. But is there any one player that you think could be an impact player here?
So I have an impact player, but I want to ask Bryce a question that we had on the
Gibson
last
Smith, in my opinion.
Of course. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, he's the biggest surprise. Well, let me ask Bryce this real quick. Bryce, we saw a lot of the defensemen, the best guys in the country, not get taken. Obviously, it was a very offense heavy. Do you think that coaches think defensive players take a couple years to develop, or do you think that they knew very good defensive players would be available on the player pool after the draft? So why spend a draft pick on it? Are you on either side of that? Because I mean, dude, the best D guys in the entire country did not get taken. I mean, how many went? 2, 3?
Yeah.
Maybe. So what do you think? What do you think?
God, I mean, really, it's a tough question. And I hate to take the middle road, but I think that's almost where the PLL is going. Like, just to develop, to play defense and play long pole in the PLL takes time. Because, like, you can't – it's not like college. It's just not. And, like, in college, like, a third defender could kind of get covered up. And, like, even the best guy, it's like there's just so many nuances. It's like take your best guy from anywhere, and it's just going to take time. Like, you're going up against the best of the best. It's just – I think there is, like you said, I think it's a learning curve, really. But I question what head coaches look for in defensemen now. I really do. Because I think there's good defensemen there, but I almost wonder now if the league is going to trend towards, again, almost like the NFL. It's like more high scoring. Are you trending towards more defensemen who can get up and down the field, who can give you 1 or 2 stops in a game and kind of concede a little bit on getting beat here and there because you have good team defense, or like just you're not really worried about giving up 1 goal considering you'll probably score 20 or 18 or 17 in the course of the game? Like,
Yep.
I wonder, I agree. I wonder what PLL coaches are looking for in a long stick defenseman nowadays. Because I just feel like that position, more than anything else in this league, is the most criticized, but it's
It's
also
true.
the most valuable in the same sense, but it's also evolving, really. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
guys like Jared Newman, and it's like, is he the greatest one-on-one defender? Not really, but the guy sticks 2 bombs, and one
does.
goal he gives up, he makes up for it with a 2
Makes
bomb.
up for
So
it
I
too.
just like,
Good point.
I don't know
Yeah.
if the position is evolving. I question that myself, because I'd be curious to hear what they all have to say about that moving forward.
What's interesting is like Kobe Smith is that pick you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There are better shutdown guys than him by far, easily. But like, are there better shooters? Other guys who are as athletic as he is. So like, do you take the hit on him not being able to cover someone one-on-one because he's going to have a couple 2 bombs? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam, go ahead. Who do you think out of the player pool, who didn't get picked up was the biggest? You thought it was Gibson?
Yeah. He's a lefty defender, right? Am I good?
Yes, I had that on my
Yeah, I
player
think
pool.
so.
Yeah, he's a lefty. So for right-handers, he's a nightmare, dude.
Exactly. That's my biggest point. Watching him play against Delaware, even though they lost, like it was a nightmare when Delaware got on his side of the field. I think he's a great man up guy and close D defender. So for me, like I'm super pissed that Whip Snakes just picked him up out of nowhere in the water.
I know.
Didn't do shit because I definitely think we could use him. But you know, it is
I
what
just
it
feel
is.
like a lot of teams could use him. Like, why not take him? Like, he's so
Right,
good. I don't know.
exactly.
It's weird.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I mean, I feel like there's so many good defenders out there, but I mean, you look at the guys who got drafted, and like, you know, some of them are like legit guys, right? Down low guys. But, you know, I feel like the league is trending more towards guys who can get up and down the field. I don't know. I would be really curious to hear what PLL coaches have to say about defense overall in the league and what they value in a poll.
It's like they looked at Chris Fake's tape and said no. Like,
Yeah.
like come on, man. Like, I watched him play all like Chris
Right.
Fake is a shutdown guy. Good ground balls.
We're gonna get a coach on, and we're gonna put him in the hot seat. So, like, you watched this film, and you said
And
no.
you said
You passed
no.
on?
So
But I
know.
wonder too, it's like, do some guys just not want to play still? Like, is that, like, you know, there were guys in the MLL days that were like, no, I'm good. I'm going to go take a, you know, Wall Street job or something like that. Like, I'm good. I had a good college career. Like, I'm good. I don't need to play anymore. Like,
That's
I wonder,
true, man.
And then there's the NLL too. Like, I wonder if some of these guys value the NLL over the PLL. And
Sure.
I don't know. Like I said, I'll just be curious. I feel like there's a lot of factors that go into it, but
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to hear what the PLL coaches have to say about defense.
I mean, just for a fun fact of the weekend, did you know the Buffalo Bandits game had 13,000 fans?
Really?
They sold out their arena. I mean,
Wow.
dude, the environment was crazy. I mean, it was wild. So, I mean, it's something to think about. But as far as additions from the player pool, I have Anthony DeMea from Maryland. He didn't get picked up by anybody. He's 26-17 this season on that very high-powered Maryland offense. And I feel like he will fit perfectly in our Canadian offense for the Chaos. He's very small, but I feel like he's a good fit. So I feel like we should have picked him up, or somebody should have. But he's great. So that was my player.
Yeah, so Gibson Smith's obviously
It's
I
the
think
answer.
he's a steal. Yeah, I mean, again, in our mock draft, a lot of mock drafts, he was going in the first round. So
Top 5.
Yeah.
I would put money he's starting in the Whip Snakes by week 1. But I actually really call it a homer pick. I love Mike Adler to the Chaos. I think we talked about this last week, and we've talked about it a few times, but seeing multiple goalies on teams, is a huge strategy right now, whether it's injuries or if a goalie's just having a bad game and you have to swap it out at halftime. But I don't really know anything about the Chaos's backup, Austin Kaut, I think is his name. But God forbid something happens to Blaze, or he's just having one of those off games, which happens even to the MVP of the league. You now have depth where you can swap him in. And again, that completely changes offensive strategy for the team you're playing. I thought it was a good pickup. I had Adler above Krebs and Colin Kirst. I had him behind McElroy, but the way Adler played towards the end of the year, I think he's a top-tier goalie.
I feel like there's something we don't know about Adler, man. His stats are insane. He's played literally on his head for 2 months, and nobody scooped him. Because I mean, dude, I love him as a backup. Would absolutely love the pick. But
Will he continue to paint the inside of his face mask in the PLL?
Absolutely.
He has to.
Absolutely. I mean, that being said,
can we talk about Chrome being the most incompetent PLL team? Can we just get it out of the way?
I'll let you
wait,
take
hold
this.
on. I
forgot. We haven't done our draft review with Bryce yet. We need to talk about it.
So why do you think the Chrome is?
Well, first of all, James, I know we texted about this. Mike Sudan, zero swag. I mean, the guy is more bow-legged than a friggin' than a bow itself. I'm just like, he's got zero swagger. He walked in there with the most dad khaki cargo shorts I've ever seen in my life, rocking the 407s, and he goes up there with so much just determination. He says, Logan Wisniewski. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God. I literally, James, I know we were texting about it, but I'm like, what? You had the easiest pick in the world.
No, it was the right pick.
I'm sure you just
shut up, Sam.
It was the right pick.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I had to, oh my gosh.
Now
you don't
hate the Army.
They're incompetent. They're incompetent.
They are. I know.
The Chrome are the new Lions of the PLL. I don't get it.
Wow.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. Milkman, all these guys. I mean, it's just like, and I feel bad. Anyone go to Chrome, you're going to the desert. Okay, you're going to.
Wow. I love this. I don't know, man. I mean, the Chris Gray thing is only. I mean, it's going to take until the entire season's over for us to make fun of them more.
Who are they? They have no idea who they are. They want to be dude, but they're not dude. They want to run a 2-2-2, but they don't have the personnel to do it. And Logan Wisniewski, what's he going to do for you? Well,
okay, wait, hold on. Let's back this up a little bit. I feel like you are downplaying Logan a lot right now.
It's what Logan can do for that team is so much less than what Chris Gray could have done for that team.
Of course, that's true. Twice on Sundays.
They need a guy in a midi. Don't get me wrong, Logan Wisniewski, drop him on any one of these other teams, and he would have been an immediate factor. But the Chrome have a hard time scoring goals. So why not go get a guy or a quarterback to run your offense who's never going to come off the field, who's going to be able to give you some sort of offensive playbook, really, or just sense of balance down there. And
so wait, why do you not like Brendan Nichtern? He's going to be their quarterback, by the way.
Who?
Brandon Nichtern. He's the attackman from Army. So he's going to play their quarterback, and Logan's going to play off of him. Brendan played quarterback for Army.
Logan's going to play down low?
I do.
You think he will?
I do.
I see them running him out of the box.
Wait, Logan?
Really?
He's listed as a
I know he's listed as a midi. I know that. But I thought they were going to have Brandon Nichtern. They're going to have Jackson Morrill as the other attackman. And then I thought
Heacock,
right?
Yeah, I mean, you're forgetting about Heacock.
So you got those three guys down.
I thought Heacock would come out of the bench. I thought
box.
I thought Heacock would come off out of the box before Logan did, honestly.
Well, Heacock was their lefty dude last year.
Yeah, I don't know if you can move Heacock, man.
So you guys want Logan up top?
That's
he might get stuck. Wait, time out. He might get stuck on defense.
Why? I mean, listen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm gonna pump my own team here. Okay, Archers, they have a perfect attack line built, right? They have an initiator, then they have a shooter on the other side, but then they have a multi-purpose guy on the other. It's just like I don't understand why you couldn't go get Chris Gray and do that same thing.
The thing that is tough is they're gonna have to justify this for years to come. They're gonna have to people are gonna ask them this kind of thing anytime they drop a close.
First PLL coach to get X'd.
Yep.
Done.
They just fired their assistant or parted ways with their assistant. So.
Yeah.
I love
is the GM. How does that happen?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
I think the players just go on strike.
Yeah, the players complain to Paul.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we don't like it. Oh, okay, let's go into matchups. Let's go into matchups. I'm super curious about these for you guys.
I don't know. I kind of want to just keep talking how bad Chrome is.
No, because you just left it.
As a lifelong Water Dogs fan, I don't see how anyone could ever root
I
for the
just need to
Chrome.
have on the podcast. Matt made this change about a month ago. So, yes, he loves hearing about his ugly ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, listen, it was a brutal couple of seasons. Tim Sedan,
Okay, to be clear, though, if the Chrome are any type of good, you can't hop back, correct?
of course not. No, I'm not hopping back. I don't care if they win the damn championship. I'm not hopping back. I'm
locking that in. I'm locking that in.
Absolutely. I'll put that in writing for you.
You're going to come to our next podcast with a fucking knight helmet on your head.
No
chance.
I'd root for the Atlas before going back to Chrome, and that's not happening.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's look at week 1 predictions. So these week 1 games are, for the most part, fantastic. Redwoods Atlas is the first game of the season, which I cannot wait. Sam is super confident that they're going to start off 1-0, and I would love to hear why.
Chris Gray. Excuse me.
Where's the freaking mute button?
Well, besides having
PG.
the quarterback skills of Chris Gray combined with the goal scoring abilities of Teat, Caraway, why am I forgetting his name? Jesus Christ. Romar Dennis, thank you. Having those guys finally being able to kind of do their thing and Gray initiate, I think that's what we were missing last year, was someone to initiate the offense. And we kind of relied on Teat. So
it's true.
I think we're going to have a lot better offensive year this year. And, the addition with Kobe Smith as an LSM, I think it shores up some of our weaknesses on defense, but not all of them. I was hoping we would take a defenseman like Gibson Smith in the draft, but, missed opportunities.
You think Trevor beats out TD week 1? You think he wins that matchup?
That is the matchup I'm looking forward to the most, just because we missed TD late in the season last year, and I think he was leading in percent in just win percentage before he got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's that matchup, and Nike. I want to see Nakai, excuse me. I want to see him and Miles Jones on the same line. I am looking forward to that.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you want to see that.
That's gonna be a lot of celebrations.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Not for Atlas, but it's going to be awesome for us. So
correct.
So let me get your take. How many goals do you guys win by?
Oof.
Throw it out.
Oh, it's a close one, I think, too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Final score?
That's fair. Yeah, make it above 20.
Yo, chill. Now he's on.
I think total points, we might break 20. I think we'll see probably it'll be 12-10 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going next for this one. I have Redwoods winning by 2. I have them 16-14. High scoring affair.
Yeah.
I think TD wins the matchup. I think you guys play really well, but I think you guys are going to take a couple games to get everything together. I mean, the sport doesn't have a training camp like others do. It's not a bash on Chris Gray. It's not a bash on what you guys really got in the draft. Just think it's going to take a little bit. And if Romar Dennis is hitting his jump shots, I don't think anybody can beat you guys. I said that last year. I'll say it again. If those jump shots are coming in consistently, and you have to rotate off of Jeff, you have to rotate off of Gray, you guys win. But if Romar's not hitting them, you guys are definitely beatable. And he's literally hit or miss. But when he hits, he hits. So I have Redwoods by 2. So we'll see. Bryce, what you got? Week 1, Redwoods Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, both you guys made some really good points there. And it's tough to judge this game because I feel like this game, more than any of the others, could go either way, defensively or offensively.
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of agree. I feel like what the Atlas is doing is just continuously building. And I think, obviously, building takes some time.
Yeah.
So I think Atlas will always be known as the team that may not start hot out of the gate, but will always be turning it on towards the end of the season.
They also have a great coach.
Just out of that, I would say Redwoods.
Sure.
I would say maybe by 1, but I agree with Sam. I think it's more low scoring than anything else. I would say it's probably like 8 to 10, 12, 10 sounds pretty good to me. I think the only game that could get out of control is Chrome Archers, just because I obviously don't think the Chrome is
Good
a
Lord.
competent
The hate
custom.
for Chrome
Yo,
is just through the roof.
he skipped 2 games into the last
Just
game
to
of the
comment.
weekend just to comment on the Chrome.
I
love
was really glad to hear when Matt switched his allegiance, because I was about to come in here and like have to like
And
really
tear them up.
break
We
this
would
down
have,
for
we
you,
would have
Matt,
cut this
like, oh,
episode so short if I was still on the
It would have been a
Chrome.
60-second episode.
I'm not sure I'd be invited back on. at
Oh
this
my
point.
God. Yeah, we're not sure what happened. Bryce's connection is
Yeah.
out. All right, Matt, who you got? Redwoods, Atlas.
I originally had Atlas. I switched to Redwoods. I really don't think people are don't do that. I really don't think people are kind of comprehending a Garrett, Epple, Arden, Cohen defensive line.
God.
God damn it.
I think
That like
Arden
makes
Cohen,
my elbows hurt, dude. I'm not kidding.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So I think Atlas obviously have one of the strongest now attack lines in the league, but to your point, I can't remember who said this. I think it was you, Bryce, but Atlas are going to be more dependent on their rookies in this game. And I think it's obviously going to take a few weeks for some of these guys to settle in. I could see Chris Gray coming out and just lighting it up, but I mean, this is one of the strongest defensive lines in the league right now.
Easily and golden.
I think TD does win the face-off matchup. I think it'll be close. I could see whoever wins face-off, I mean, Battle's going to win this game, I think. But I think both teams are going to score. I could see it being like a 15-14, 14-13 type game, but I'm going to say Redwoods by 1.
I think something that we didn't talk about at all is Kobe Smith on the wings of those face-offs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a different
huge.
game. Because if the ball's loose, I mean, he's going to get
It's
it.
a wrap.
There's
It's
no,
a wrap.
yeah, exactly. It's not. There's no.
That's
there's
what I'm
no
saying.
scrap.
Like if
You know?
TD does not win a good amount of these face-offs,
Like
Atlas will
clean?
win for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be.
I
don't
think
know, man. That's a
that
good
might
point
be a
about the
preview
defense.
of the championship, depending on seedings.
Yeah. I think that game could also depend
Look
on.
at Sam's face right now, dude. I cannot wait for the season to start. I am so excited for this season.
I think
All right,
that
go
game
ahead, go
could
ahead.
depend on 2-point shots too.
True.
That's true. That's
on
true.
team's ability to make the 2-point shot. That game more than anything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Romar's having two 2-pointers first game. Calling it now.
He's
Hot
going to
take.
make
Are we
two
locking this
two-pointers?
in?
No. No, $10 he doesn't. Right now, $10 he does not hit 2 2-pointers.
Virtual shake.
Bet.
Done. It's locked in. Wow. Sam is so
Can't wait for him to sting it.
This is
first time out of the
dude.
box.
I'm going to McDonald's. I'm buying $9 worth of stuff. $9 with your money.
You know what's funny is we're all going to be in the same city for these games.
Good. I take PayPal, Venmo, anything. It's crazy. I hate this confidence. Whatever. All right, next one.
All right, next game we got. This one's. I feel like this one's going to start more arguments than anything. Whip Snakes versus Chaos.
No, Sam goes first. Sam goes first. Sam goes
start
first.
with you.
Sam goes first.
James is
No,
so
I got-
close
I got-
to escape.
I got chaos.
Okay, okay, we're good.
You just avoided chaos. I think.
I do think this is going to be one of the best games of the weekend, if not the best. I don't think. Yeah, the additions that Chaos got in the draft, they filled a lot of. Not a lot, but got the needs that they needed, and Whip Snakes. I mean, with why am I forgetting his name? Williams, Zed Williams, and Matt Rambo. Like that's still a crazy attack line. Like those guys, and they're experienced in the PLL. So I think that game's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a high scoring game with the offense of Chaos and what Towers is doing there. Like that's going to be a high powered offense all year, just with their chemistry. So I think that game gets close to breaking 20 on one side. I think it'll be like a 17-15 game.
Wowzers. It's a high one. So I'll go next. I actually going to surprise you guys with this. I actually have
Are you going
Whip
Whips?
Snakes. I am going whips, and there's a reason for that. Bryce, by anybody, and especially Matt's going to remember this. I feel like our Canadian offense is going to be viewed like the Skins offense was with RG. Like that year, it was a big surprise. No one knew how to cover it. No one knew how to rotate with it. And I feel like people now have had an off season of our tape, what we do, the double picks and all that. So I feel like a couple games in, we're actually going to have to adjust a little bit what we're doing because people are really going to like understand our offense. Like, everyone knows what we're doing now. It's no secret. It's not like Chase Frazier's not a secret. The fact that we run Canadian. So I have whip snakes by 2. And honestly, it sounds pretty cliche, but Matt Rambo's the reason. That's it. Matt Rambo's that good. I mean, we have good defenders. Jack Roulette will probably be on him. Newman tried to play on him for the last 2 years and has done terribly. Honestly, I still have no idea why we do that matchup because it never works. Never. I mean, Bryce knows. I mean, seriously, every time we have Newman on Rambo, he gets eaten alive. He gets topside all day. Mm-hmm. So I actually have, I went snakes big yes the first time, but I think later in the season we can get them. But I have snakes this week.
That's good pick.
Matthew?
I have whip snakes as well. My only note actually just said target on your back. I think Chaos are the reigning champions, and you've got whip snakes who have had all off season to prepare for this game.
Sure. And they're pissed. They're mad.
I think every team in the league obviously wants to dethrone the Chaos, and what they've been doing is watching film on the Canadian offense and how you stop it.
Exactly.
So I think they're going to surprise some people defensively. I love Roman Pugliese as their first round pick. I think that helps on the transition defense a lot. And then you go into how deep their offensive power is. Whip snakes they're always going to score goals.
Dude, the Keegan Khan pickup's huge.
Yeah, massive. People are sleeping on Keegan Khan, who's been
because if he was the number one guy on another team, he'd be talked about more. But he's just another guy that gets buckets on Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've got it close. I said 2 or 3 goals, but I got whip snakes winning.
Love that, Bryce.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of follow what you said, James. I think like any Super Bowl winner, right? It's just hard to repeat, and it's like you get a whole year worth of film on that offense, and like if Chaos has a postseason run, it's going to be off of the coaching. It's not going to be off of the players.
Sure.
Because Andy Towers is going to have to draw some new stuff up. I mean, they, between the last couple of years, it feels like they've really kind of like found themselves. But like any other team who makes it to the championship and wins it, you have to re-identify yourself a little bit because you can kind of do the same things, but everyone's going to know what you do and then how to attack it, or at least come up with a new way, and someone's going to find a blueprint. At some point, some way, somehow, someone will find a way to stop that offense. And I think, like the Atlas, like a Canadian offense is complicated. It takes a lot of chemistry. It takes a lot of knowing your individual players, and that takes time to develop. And so for that reason, and because it's obviously against the Whips who are pretty pissed off, I'm going to go Whips by more than a couple. I would say Whips by like 4 or 5.
Wow. I think another thing that scares me about our team that scares me big time is like, what if Blaze doesn't make 20 saves? Like, we could have lost by 7.
Yeah,
that scares me.
How many guys are the Chaos going to have back from the NLL rosters, back into
ready to go
for week 1 of the PLL? Like that's kind of part of it too, right? It's like
true.
I mean, I just don't, and it obviously kind of depends on how their teams do in the NLL, but I don't see. They had the most guys of anyone who were not currently on the roster. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, Joey Byrne, Blaze is out. Chase Frazier's out. Mac O'Keefe is still out. Yeah, that was good.
Right. It's not like small names. It's like they're guys. So I just think, like kind of like the Atlas, I think it'll take them time to get back out of NLL and into the PLL rhythm of things.
Sure. Sure.
I do like that. I think that's a good point of, you have to change something after you win a championship, whatever it is. So I think this is going to be, we're going to find out what kind of coach Andy Towers is this year. He's obviously a good coach, but if he's a great coach, he's going to have to make adjustments because like Bryce was saying, it doesn't matter how like clever your offense is. People are going to catch on at some point.
Yep.
That's a good point though. All right. Third one we got is Water Dogs Cannons. Bryce, let's start with you. Who you got in this one?
I don't know. I feel like both
Yo, Matt is so mad. That took more than 2 seconds.
like,
So tight.
you know, I don't know.
I just didn't know
feel
where that
like
was
both
going.
these teams are at the same point, right? Like both these teams are trying to find out who they are within the PLL. They're trying to find
I
out
wouldn't say,
where
hold
they
on.
stand.
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with
Yup.
that. I don't. I think the Water Dogs are further along than the Cannons.
Further along.
Yeah, I mean, they won
How
6
much
games
further?
last year.
How much?
I mean, 4.5 wins further.
No.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, but
Well.
you don't think the Cannons have retooled at all?
I think they have, but they also haven't played with some of their biggest additions. Their entire season is hell-bent on Asher and Lyle. Their entire season. They don't work unless they work. Yes.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I think. But, you know, again, Water Dogs got rid of Drenner. Obviously, you know, a little revenge game there. But I don't know.
I forgot about the Drenner. That's a big drop.
I mean, it's just
That's
like I feel like the Water Dogs need to reestablish who they are, and so do the Cannons. And that's why I feel like both these teams are like kind of in the same realm of like, who are we in the aspect of the PLL? Where are we going to stand? What is our identity offensively and defensively? Who are going to be our guys? You know, I think both teams are going to have to rely pretty heavily on rookies to lead their teams and move forward. I'm going to say Water Dogs just because I think they'll be returning more role players than the Cannons. So I would say Water Dogs by 3, maybe. I don't feel great about that, but like I said, I don't have a good reading on how either one of these teams are going to play leading into the year.
Screen back.
So I partially agree with what Bryce said. I do think I do agree with the point that the Water Dogs don't really have their identity yet. I absolutely think they're a few steps farther than I think the Cannons are behind, or but right before the Chrome, the weakest roster in the league, which again, with how competitive this league is not necessarily a ding on the Cannons, but I think Michael Sowers being healthy for the year is going to be huge. But I just look at Liam Burns, Eli Gobrecht, Ben Randall on the defensive line. I'm looking at every position between us and the Cannons, and attack. I mean, Kieran McCardle, Michael Sowers, Ryan Brown, like yes, you don't have a Lyle Thompson, but that's still a very strong attack line. And I just think at every position we're better than the Cannons. I don't know. I think the Cannons could surprise a few people. I could see this being an upset, but I'm going Cannons Water Dogs by 3. All right, Sam, let's go to you. Who do you like in this one?
This is a tough one. I'm going to take Cannons.
That's absolutely a bias pick. If I was still a Chrome fan, you'd pick the Water Dogs. I'd lay $1,000 on that.
I do remember the faces you made when I chose the Water Dogs last week. It is kind of revenge. So, I think Lyle Thompson, James, we talked about it earlier, and Asher Knowlton getting on the same line. I think that's going to cause a lot of problems, more problems than I think a lot of people realize. And I think this is set Lyle's second year. Am I correct? He has the second year in the PLL, right? Yeah. So I think him having 1 year of experience and him being Lyle Thompson, I think he's going to show up and show out. So, and last year, based on last year, like they split the season last year 1-1. And the thing I found interesting was that Water Dogs won 61% of the faceoffs in their second game, but lost 13-7. So, just based off that, I think Cannons take it by 2. I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game, so it's gonna be 9-7.
You know what? You're right. They did lose to the Cannons last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
13-7. Yep. The Water Dogs are a weird team, man. I'm looking at their games from last year. Like
they're just like this.
They beat the Cannons 19-7, lost to them 7-13, lost to the Archers 17-8, but then lost to the Redwoods 19-16. and then beat Atlas, beat Whipsnakes, this is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think what's his name coming back?
Sowers.
Sours.
I think him coming back does add some power to that offense. So I think they're missing that. However, it does take a few games to get used to the energy and pace of a PLL game, I believe.
It's true.
I think that's also why we didn't see a lot of defensemen go, because it takes a few seasons to get used to it. Putting a guy.
That's true. I like that.
My only hesitation is Waterdog's season is going to be very dependent on how Dylan Ward plays this year. He had a very rocky start last year, started to figure it out late in the season, but
you know how I feel about him, by the way.
I know.
I do not like him. I think he's bad.
I like Matt DeLuca, our backup, but I think this is 100% like Dylan Ward's on the hot seat this season. If he starts out bad, they're going to put DeLuca in at halftime, and he might take the starting position. But
for sure.
If Dylan Ward plays bad, then Cannons are going to steamroll them. Are you kidding me with that line? There's no way. But I think they have enough weapons to minimize the damage that they can do on Dylan Ward. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. James, what do you think?
So I don't know. Bryce has me like second guessing my sports thoughts, which I don't think anybody in the history of the world has been able to do that. They were the number one seed and won 6 games last year, but like it's like almost an asterisk should be next to it. Like, were the Water Dogs the best team in the league last year at the end of the regular season? Like, would you say that? Like, I don't know.
I mean, but it's the same thing with like the NFL. Like, Packers were the number one team in the NFC. Were they the best team?
No,
that's true.
Sam, no. Can we go back to James saying that Bryce just changed his opinion on sport? Are we just going to skate over that? No one's ever been even females haven't been able to do that.
Wow.
Mark that in, females. So I don't know. I feel like the Water Dogs, it's so bizarre that the Water Dogs are talked about like there's some like new upcoming team and they have to like figure out what they're doing. They won 6 games. They won more games than the Whipsticks. Like, I know there's Matt Rambo was out, what have you, but like they won more games than that. So I still have Water Dogs by 3. And I just will say that if this game happens in the middle of the season, I'm gonna have Cannons over Water Dogs. But as of right now, I think Water Dogs take it. For sure. Pretty relatively easy pick, but it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's the one that's really up in the air for me. So wow, Ryan Brown, Jesus. You got a good squad to get on, Matt. Huh?
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll see. All right, last game we got Chrome versus Archers. Bryce is going to go last. I'm going first. Logan Wisniewski's 12 goals at least. I can't wait. Tim Sudan is coach of the year.
Freshest coach of the year. Like more swag than Towers for sure.
I'm biting my lip, boys. Bite my lip.
Oh, you're good.
No,
you're good.
I'll start this one off. I think this is a rout. I think we've talked enough about how many holes the Chrome still have, but I do think their offense will be better this year. I think, yes, they lost guys like, Ned Crotty, Jordan Wolf, but I actually do like the Logan pick. Obviously, they should have taken Gray. If they could have gotten Logan later on, I would have loved it. But I'm big on Brendan Nichtern. I like him. I think wherever they put him, he's going to succeed. But dude, the Archers offense is going to be
it's insane. It's
literally unstoppable this year. Like that's where that conversation ends is they're going to score well over 15 goals on this team.
Is Matt Moore going to have your 4th best defender on the field? Like,
yes.
Who covers Matt Moore?
Him and Schreiber on the same
I think you have to put a poll on Matt Moore. You have to.
No, who do you put to put it? You put a poll on Tom Schreiber. You can't put a poll on that.
Yeah, you have to cover Schreiber.
He's the best midfielder.
I don't know. I mean, Sam's got a point though, because like you could put a short down on Will Manny.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, if you got to rotate, that's the one that you don't.
So here, no. Put a shorty on Will Manny, who literally eats up the backside. You're gonna need a very smart defender when Grant Amon's throwing Pat Mahomes from his hip, like he did all season.
But that's
what are we talking about?
But this is why the Archers, this is the reason why the Archers should score 20 goals every game.
I understand that, but there's no short stick in the Galaxy that's going to be on Schreiber, not one.
Well, I think that's why we're getting
in the PLL.
I think.
Dude, that's a small field. I Honestly, no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't. That's giving so much damn respect to somebody. Like, dude, the best. Everyone on the field is the best right now. And you're gonna lock off. Like, there's players that should be locked off already. Is my point. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's like 30 seconds to go and I'm playing the whip stakes, Matt Rambo's not touching the ball, like, at all.
Yeah.
But like, they could just shoot behind the cage. I don't know. I'm just glad this is recorded that Sam has a shorty on. Jesus. Okay. Whatever. Matt Moore, Tom Schreiber.
So anyway, yeah, I got Archers winning big in this game. Yeah, I mean, as much as I would love to see not the Chrome upset the Archers, but just be better this year, I think the league is just too competitive, and I think just on paper they have the most holes in their roster. But I don't know, man. I think we probably said this same shit last year, but this might be the year Archers figure it out. And this will be a very telling game because if they don't beat the tar out of the Chrome, we might have another year of the Saints on our hands.
I mean, they need a Facebook guy, and they got it.
See,
let's go to Bryce. Hold on, let's go to Bryce. I need all of
that.
I need the Ignacio talk. Did you guys figure out your face off, and will you beat the Chrome week 1?
Is it really? You really want me to go?
I did.
Yes.
I thought the Archers had probably the most complete draft as far as meeting their needs.
Agreed.
Yep.
I think we said that. Yeah, I think we said
We
that.
did say that last week.
Atlas won the draft because they should have without the draft picks.
Atlas and Redwoods,
Archers,
I thought, had the best talents, but meeting their needs, addressing their needs, Archers hands down.
Archers for sure.
Yeah. And I remember when I came on last, we kind of talked about what the Archers need, and we addressed the face-off position, and they got that with Ignacio. How he transitions, like that is another one that's just like, it's just tough. I mean, T. Erlin, Trevor Baptiste. I mean, it's just like, you can go down. You can go down the line. It's like none of those are easy matchups. And like, as a college kid, the face-off now is more resembling of PLL face-off, but it takes time. It does take time. I think Ignacio will do okay. Whether or not he's doing okay by the beginning of the year, I think is where I question. I think he's probably will turn on towards the end or middle of the year.
Yep.
I don't know. I think Archers win by like 1 million points at this point. But
lock that in.
Hot take.
By 1 million. By 1 million.
So Bryce, hang on.
I still as like kind of feeding into that. Like, obviously I'm a Panthers fan, but I get the Saints fandom, and like I just have so many doubts that like we're gonna just kill the regular season, and then when it comes to like needing to shut down someone's best defender, I still don't know that we have a guy who's able to do that. And like, I'm looking at the draft, and like the offense is absolutely phenomenal, and I think that's kind of where the PLL is going. But like at the end of the day, you got to be able to get a couple stops
on Zed Williams, on Matt Rambo.
Yeah,
right, Matt, you had a question?
Yeah, and it's like I think Gittleman will give you some solid play, whether they go first half, second half like they did last year.
I think
or
they will.
Whole game with Dobson.
Yep.
I don't know. I think obviously if you're an Archers fan, there's no questions about offense. All the questions are down either at the faceoff X or down on defense, and that's where it's like I can go into a game expecting to get at least 5 or 6 highlight reel goals from the Archers, but are we going to be able to win the game because we are maintaining possession of the ball or able to stop who's ever number one guy is, whoever that might be?
For sure. Matt,
like I said, Archers by 1 million in this matchup at least, but everything else, I still have that concern that they've still built an incredible offense and don't have a single person who can like go shut down
somebody.
So my question to that is, Bryce, I think you guys only need Ignacio to be okay. I don't think.
Yeah, it's like if we could just get to 50%.
Right, exactly.
50%, your offense is probably going to score 80% of the time that they touch the ball.
Exactly.
Like obviously, it's not all of your possessions are not going to come just off of the face-off X. So, but that's where it like comes back to the defense. You need some stops defensively in order to help get more possessions because you may be a little rocky at the face-off X to start the year until Ignacio kind of figures it out and gets it going. Now, hopefully he's like Nardella. He hits the ground running and he's good to go from game one, right? But
we'll see.
I just
Holy expectations.
it's just like I just feel like they're gonna be looking at him like, yo, like if you can be just okay, like you'll like that will get that you're the piece to getting us to the championship. But like no pressure, you just have to win at least 50%.
Yes.
Yeah,
Against
but I
Steve
mean,
Earle
and that's
Trevor Baptiste and Nardella.
yeah, and I think a lot of this is going to fall on Gittleman. Like he has to stay on pace of what he was doing last year. But that was my point. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I think we had in our mock draft Ignacio going to the Archers.
Well, yeah, because
And
it was their need.
Yeah, and we said, even if he's giving your offense 4 or 5 more possessions, like you're giving Grant Ament, Manny, now Matt Moore the ball 5 more times a game, and if they're scoring 80%, that's 4 more goals for you right there. That can be the and the Archers lost a few very close games last year. Like that's the difference between 4 seed and a 1 seed, easily.
That's literally what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking at right now for the Archers schedule. Because I want to see how many goals they gave up. Beginning of the season, they were averaging 6, 7, 8 goals. Then after they lose to the Whipsnakes 15-14, I mean they give up 13 goals a game. I don't know what happened, but they lost the Whipsnakes by 1.
Kelly started to go down. They started to go with Brendan Fowler, Stephen Kelly. Like they just started losing it at the faceoff X, and then they're playing more defense than anyone else. And like obviously we all know, as we've kind of talked about in this, like you're going to lose games that way.
I mean, they had now it is 4 weeks in a row where they lost. They lost. It's 5 goals between all the games.
Damn.
That's crazy. And that's Whipsnakes, Cannons, Redwoods, and Chaos. That's 5 goals between those guys. That's crazy. Wow, that was really
James, Sam, what you guys got?
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
I was going to say I do think they'll win for reasons that Bryce and Matt, you guys have already said so. But I think this is one of those test years where it's like, James, you were just saying they've been on the verge. They just added another attackman, Matt Moore. I know the defenseman issue. I think they'll iron that out before week 1, to be honest. And the biggest test will be goalie and Gittleman. I think that will be the biggest test, and he's definitely on the hot seat. But I do expect them to figure it out, and it is a test year. It's like if the Archers don't make it at least past week 1 postseason, does something need to happen? Does the offense need to be worked? Rethink strategy, something like that. And maybe not rebuild because they already have pieces on offense, but be more strategic in the draft and stuff like that. So, going into that stuff, I still think they take this by at least 5.
Sure.
And
I like that take.
It'd be a good way to end the night or end the weekend.
And sure. I definitely have Archers win this game, obviously. And I think the Archers are kind of going through what a lot of NBA teams have messed up the last couple of years is they focus on these big star offensive players, but people forget that you don't win without good wing defenders in the NBA. In the same way you don't win without good short stick middies and lockdown defenders.
Yep.
Because Chaos don't win without Jack Rowlett. Everyone thinks they don't win without some of the other offensive guys, but like Jack Rowlett caused a lot of late turnovers in games that we ended up winning. So I do think Bryce is right. They have to hammer out the defensive things, but I think Archers take this by 5. I would say that for sure. Luckily, Tom Shriver's going to get a shorty on him, so it's going to be good. A shorty on Tom Shriver.
I knew that was coming.
I said that.
Yeah, that's what I got. Archers.
We have a couple bold statements on this episode. I love it, though.
I love it. I love the bold statements. And we just found out that all 4 of us will be in Charlotte the weekend to watch the PLL, so we'll definitely get together and watch some of this game. That's exciting.
Right.
We got a countdown, boys. I mean, it's like training camp starts in 9 days.
Yeah.
Is it? Wow, it is 9 days.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Training camp starts 9 days, and season starts in 3 weeks. Wow.
We made it. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. We do want to thank Bryce again for coming on. Bryce, as always, pleasure having you on. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bryce. Good luck next season.
Guys, I appreciate it. Anytime.
Of course.
Yeah. Recurring guest.
So, we'll be back next week. We'll be doing a little bit more of a deep dive into each one of the week 1 matchups. But until then, as the Canadians say, peace out.